All right, so this is a little bit awkward. So I sent out nearly 120,000 invitations to you guys, and none of you turned up to mine and Kat's wedding. I hope you all have pretty good excuses of why you didn't turn up. If you do have a good excuse, let me know in the comments. So today I'm going to describe for you the wedding day, everything that happened, and for me this is more of a try not to cry challenge, because on the day I was just weeping like a little baby pretty much all day long. So I'm gonna try and hold it together. You have to hold it together too, because as soon as I see you crying, that's it, I'm gone. And by the way, any pictures that you see on this video will have been seen first over on my Instagram, so make sure you go and follow me on Instagram. There's a link in the description and a card up above. So that magical day a week and a few days ago, where do I even start? I'll probably start with the question I got asked most on the day, which was, are you nervous? I probably got asked that separately like, I don't know, 20 times. And to be honest, the biggest source of nervousness for me was the weather. But we'll talk a bit more about that in a second. But as for nerves about what is gonna happen, you know, everything to do with getting married, no, I wasn't nervous at all. That was until about like 5 minutes before the ceremony was gonna happen. Then I got, you know, some butterflies, which I think is pretty normal. But I wasn't nervous at all, and I heard through Kat's bridesmaids that she was pretty chill. Apparently all her bridesmaids were more nervous than she was. But we said from the beginning, there's nothing to be nervous about, because all the people that we had here were people we love, people that care about us. They weren't like, you know, 16th cousins and work associates and things like that. It was just our family and friends, people that love us and people that care about us, and there was no judgment in the air, you know, so there was nothing to be nervous about in that respect. And I think we both knew that we wanted to marry each other, so there was no cold feet or nerves or anything to do with that. So I think that's why both Kat and I were pretty chill on the day. Except, as I say, about the weather. So let's talk about Finland's favorite topic, the weather. As I mentioned in my previous video, I had been checking the forecast for the wedding day like 2 weeks in advance, you know, however long you can see, like 10 days. And every day I checked it, the weather forecast changed. And leading up to the 14th of July, we had pretty hot weather here in the south of Finland. So there was like some feeling that there was a storm brewing somewhere. And sure enough, a few days before the wedding day, on the little app, there was a thunderbolt and some rain, and I just, man. Kat has always said that it didn't matter to her if it rained, because there was a plan B where we'd have the ceremony in the house. But for me, I just wanted it to be the perfect day, that we had both envisioned that we'd have the ceremony outside here at the summer house. I didn't want anything else except for it not to rain. So the day comes, and I look out the window about 8 o'clock in the morning when I woke up, and it was like blue sky, some clouds around, and I was like, yes, jackpot, we're good to go. And about 2 o'clock when I got picked up from where I was staying, there was a very big dark cloud up above us, and sure enough, I heard the rumbling of some thunder. And at that point, I'd pretty much just given up on it not raining. You know, that drop of rain where it lands on you and you can't feel it, and there's no other rain. I was waiting for that. And then about like 20 minutes before the ceremony, I wasn't allowed in or around the house. I was stood on the deck outside the house, and I was looking out over the water here, and I could see in the distance some rain, you know, when you can see it coming down. It couldn't have been more than a couple of kilometers away. And the wind was kind of blowing in my direction, so I was like, okay, well, if we don't get rained on now, we'll soon be rained on, because it's coming this way. And a few more rumbles of thunder happened, but we didn't have a single drop of rain all day long. The only moisture was from our sweat, because it was like 30 degrees. It was so hot. But you know what? I would have taken a hot, sweaty day over rain every single time. And you know what? After the wedding day, we heard what I was seeing over in the distance, a couple of kilometers away, was actually hailstones. That would have sucked. That would have sucked big time. Getting hailed on, like not only rain, but just like hit in the head with ice balls. So, right, let's move on now to the moment. The moment both Kat and my life changed forever. Just thinking about this makes me emotional. So I'm gonna try and keep it together. So as I mentioned, we had the ceremony here at the summer house. We had all our friends and family and the people we hold dearest to us all gathered and stood in this little area here. And of course myself and my best man, who was my brother, we stood there waiting for the music to come on and the Kat and her bridesmaids to walk towards us. And I just remember standing there looking around thinking how perfect this is. We have everybody that we love standing there. We have this beautiful day, no rain, and things just couldn't be more perfect. At least that's what I thought until the music came on and I saw Kat's bridesmaids come from around the corner of the house and walk towards us. Sure enough, not long after I saw them, I saw Kat and her dad walk around the corner and start walking towards me. And if I was emotional when I saw Kat's bridesmaids, when I saw her, and you know what, for a split second I was like, no, I don't want to cry. This isn't cool. I thought, right, I'm just gonna look at the ground or, you know, look at a tree or something and just not cry. And then I thought, what's the big deal? Who cares? This moment only comes around once in your life, and I'm gonna take it all in. If I cry, I cry. And then I kind of glanced at all our guests, and most of them were crying as well, so I thought, what the hell? If you can't beat them, join them. So I watched Kat walk up towards me, and it was, I dare say, the most wonderful moment of my life, seeing Kat come towards me. And she held it together really well up until she kind of got to the end of the crowd and then saw me just like she held it together up until then, and then she kind of just ran into my arms when she saw me so emotional, and then she got emotional, and then everyone else started crying. So it was very, very emotional for everybody. Now the details of the ceremony I'm gonna keep for myself, Kat, and anybody that was there. But let me just tell you, it was perfect. Just like everything else that had happened that day. But after the ceremony was over and we kind of walked and we signed what we needed to sign, and everything just went, you could almost feel this breath of fresh air. It's like, the official bit's done, let's rock. So then Kat and I went off and had our portraits done, which you have been seeing throughout this video. But after all the pictures and the mingling and stuff was done, we headed off to where we had some dinner. And at this point, I feel like I need to mention the foreigners that came over. So I, of course, invited my friends and family from the UK over to Finland for our wedding. I can only imagine what was going through their head when they drove from Helsinki and just carried on going, middle of nowhere. Okay, where are we? We're off the screen now. And I know for sure they are wondering what the hell they've gotten into when the Snap songs started at the dinner table, and then they had pickled herring and sinappisilli on their plate. They just must have been like, what have we gotten ourselves into? But when I looked around, everybody, they seem to be getting into it. Now, speaking of the food, the dinner. Now, this part kind of in my memory went by so quickly. I think mainly because I was trying to take so much in. I was trying to look around at all our loved ones and just make these pictures, these memories in my head. I didn't really take in so much of the small details, and I really focused on the speeches which were taking place, which were incredible. Everybody that had a speech was just, I mean, you only have to look at this picture to see what I thought about one speech, and that was pretty much me for every single one of them. But what I do remember is that we had some amazing food. We had really good drinks. And then of course the cake cutting, which went off without a hitch, I guess. Although I was stood there, and then obviously Kat and I had never cut a wedding cake before, like together. So I was like, what do we do? Just kind of cut. But as I'm saying it now, I'm realizing how fast the whole day went by. It's just a absolute whirlwind. And many people said before the day, like, make sure you stop and take things in because it is gonna go by so fast. And those people are so right. On the day, I was just like, oh my God, everything is taking so long. Like, when will the ceremony come around and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of it all, it felt like it went by in the blink of an eye. But anyway, after all the dinner, we had our party, and then from there, it was pretty much game over. We had so much alcohol, which everybody was very pleased with. But that's to be expected. It was a Finnish wedding. Of course, there's gonna be copious amounts of alcohol. And as promised, I even took the leftovers from my Finnish alcohol taste tests, and believe it or not, they all went. I even found some of my British friends with the chili licorice shot drink and just pounding it. Needless to say, at the breakfast the next morning, there were some sore heads. But anyway, I think I'm gonna leave the other details for Kat and I to remember in our brain box. But I think this was a pretty good idea of what happened on the day. But I mean, to cut a long story short, it was perfect. It was just everything that I'd hoped the day would have been, and I think Kat thinks the same. And honestly, that's all that mattered to me, at least, that Kat had the day that she'd dreamed of. And she'd worked so hard over the past year to make the day as perfect as possible, and she did it. She nailed it. Because I'm saying all these things like it just happened, but Kat put so much work into this day, and yeah, pretty incredible what she managed. But anyway, we are super happy with the day and happy together. We've made it a week and a couple of days, going strong. But we have a very exciting time ahead of us, having just moved to Finland a few months ago. Kat's going off to do her master's degree in a month or two. Lots of things are starting to happen in like my professional career as well. Who'd have thought? And who knows, with any luck, there'll be some miniature versions of us running around soon. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I beat the try not to cry challenge. I think I was close there a couple of times. Let me know if you passed the challenge as well. Hopefully I managed to find some twinkly music to play underneath my description of the ceremony. That often helps turn on the waterworks, I think. That's all I got for you today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm still a little disappointed you didn't turn up to the wedding, but you know, you're here now, so that's all that matters. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, and if you are psyched for Kat and I getting married, please hit that thumbs up button for me. Once again, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. See ya.